I work with hundreds of women who have been diagnosed with low libido or low sex drive or hypoactive sexuality dysfunction disorder. And they all think there's something wrong with them, that there are no other factors in the environment, in their culture, in their relationship that may be contributing to this. And what I have found after not only helping myself fix my low libido, you can see I love that term, and also hundreds of other women, I have seen the cultural messages that directly impact our desire of sex and our pleasure within the sexual experience. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 4 of those aspects of culture. They're just delightful. And hopefully by the end of this video, if you feel like you may have low libido or low sex drive, then you'll know that there's nothing wrong with you. There are many reasons why this is happening from a historical perspective, and that you'll feel hope that there is a way forward as long as we can open our eyes to these cultural soupy grossness that is happening around us. Before we get into that, I want to introduce myself. My name is Janna Denton-Howes. I am a desire coach, sex coach, marriage coach, whatever you want to call me. But I work with women who are married to men who want and enjoy sex with their husbands. And a big part of that is helping them see the cultural conditioning, the cultural messages that mess us up and really block us from our desire and pleasure. You ready? Okay, number 1. There was, for a very long time, a common belief from just regular people and also the medical professionals that women didn't experience sexual desire. This is from an article in Psychology Today. Until the 20th century, American and European men, including physicians, believed that women did not experience sexual desire or pleasure. They believed that women were simply fleshy receptacles for male lust, and that intercourse culminating in male ejaculation fulfilled women's erotic needs. No wonder some women, if not all women, felt a level of sexual frustration because, spoiler, we are also sexual beings and have sexual desire and experience sexual pleasure. And they diagnosed this condition of sexual frustration and called it hysteria. Now, the hysterical thing about this is that then the women would go to their doctors and then they would be treated by the male physicians giving them orgasms with their hands. But then the doctor's hands got tired, and so the vibrator was introduced. And then women got a hold of this after some while. They realized, oh my gosh, I don't have to go to a doctor for this. And then the personal body massage came onto the market, and then women use that, and then we have the vibrator. So unfortunately, well, a great thing came out of that, but unfortunately the message that so many of us take on is it's not natural for women to experience sexual pleasure. And I see that historical message playing out today again and again. I was just on a group call with 40 women, and so many of them were saying to me, I feel weird. I can't communicate my desire. I feel really awkward. I'm really embarrassed. I'm shamed about my desires and pleasure. Probably for centuries, because for centuries women were told that they had no sexual desire, and if they did, it was a diagnosable condition. Lovely. Okay, number 2. Freud diagnosed clitoral orgasms as being just wrong. So this is from an article from Talkspace. According to Freud, while female children experience pleasure from the clitoris, adult women had to shift their focus exclusively to vaginal intercourse or risk psychological disorder. Let's just set the record straight. Asking a woman to orgasm without clitoral stimulation is like asking a man to orgasm with only testicle stimulation. Okay? It's absolute garbage. But I see that happening today because when I send out anonymous surveys, I get hundreds of responses back, and so many of them say, Janna, just please teach me how to have a vaginal orgasm. I can only have a clitoral orgasm. I have to touch my clitoris. I have to use a vibrator. So what's the message? The message is that there is something wrong with you if you need clitoral stimulation. There isn't. I'm sorry. Okay, historical message number 3. So women were seen as property of men for a very long time. And this was extremely problematic, and here's why. For so many reasons. This is from an article on Wikipedia. Historically, in much of the world, rape was seen as a crime or tort or theft of a man's property, usually either a husband or a father. In this case, property damage meant that the crime was not legally recognized as damaging to the victim, but instead to her father or husband's property. Therefore, by definition, a husband could not rape his wife. This is what was written a little in the 1700s. The husband cannot be guilty of rape committed by himself upon his lawful wife, for by their mutual consent and contract, the wife has given up herself in this kind unto her husband, which she cannot retract. Marital rape was only criminally recognized in 1970. That's not that long ago. So here's the message. It doesn't matter what you want. It's inconsequential what you want. You are the property of your husband. Now he gets to do whatever he wants because of this marital contract. Suck it up. You don't need to be comfortable. You don't need to be in your pleasure. You're just a receptacle for his almighty penis. I see that historical message play out right now in the women I serve because they are riddled with guilt for thinking about their pleasure. They're worried about being selfish. They're terrified to set boundaries that are simply human rights for someone to feel safe and comfortable 100% of the time. So I see that historical message played out right now. Number 4, the patriarchal interpretation of the biblical story of Adam and Eve. This story shapes our current culture. Eve ate the apple. Eve committed the original sin. Eve plunged us all into war and famine and all the bad things that happen in this world. I believe that this infiltrates our culture so deeply, especially in this realm, because women are taught to blame themselves. That's why we have the diagnosis of low libido or low sex drive or hypoactive sexuality dysfunction disorder in the first place. Because what I have come to realize after years of research and work in my own life and years of research and women in this one specific area, what I've come to realize is that we are not low in anything. There is absolutely nothing wrong with us. The problem, we have been miseducated and misguided by culture. We are not in safe, comfortable experiences. We have a funky relationship with pleasure. I wonder why. And so it is incredibly important that we open our eyes to these historical messages and not say, oh, past is in the past. It's not. This is generational and it's not that distant of the future. And those things are still playing out in our media, in our culture, in our society, in the movies we watch, in the books we read. They're there still. They haven't gone away. They're deeply ingrained and entrenched. I know this may be a little bit heavy and a little bit depressing, but the last thing we need is women blaming themselves. We need to start blaming culture. We need to open our eyes to these harmful messages that have harmed us so that we can move forward. And if you want to move forward, if you're like, yes, I am done with this, I am ready to move forward and enjoy pleasure and connection in the sexual experience with my husband, I have a solution for you. I run a program called Wanting It More. It is an 8-week program. It's done with a group of women. We all get to dissect these messages, and not only that, but then move forward with a step-by-step system so that you can design a sexual experience that you can actually look forward to. We are enrolling right now for the fall round, and I would love to have you there. You can go to jannadentonhowes.com/wantingitmore to find all the details and make sure that you reserve a spot, because we only have limited amounts every single time we run it, just to make sure that you get that support that you need from me. All right, I hope this has been very informative and it's light a little fire under you to just open your eyes again. How many times can I say open your eyes? I will see you in the next video.